My all-time favorite Yiddish word is chutzpah. It means sheer, unmitigated gall. And although the year isn't quite halfway over yet, I think I have a solid candidate for the most outrageous act of chutzpah for 2024. And it can be found down at so-called Little Gaza, that festering, hate-filled tent city situated upon the lawns of King's College Circle at the University of Toronto. For more than 6 weeks now, this crucible of seething hatred has taken up lease here. It is populated by gruesome squatters who are breaking several sections of the Trespass Act. This disgrace could have been removed on the first day it went up, as a similar encampment was at the University of Calgary, as a similar encampment was at Toronto's York University. But no, U of T's president, Garrick Mertler, is so spine-challenged, he continues to bend the knee to the Hitler Youth movement here. It's a pathetic disgrace, really. But back to the sheer unmitigated gall part. You see, while the people here, by their very presence, are carrying out a criminal act, they are acting as though they are not the trespassers, but rather the actual landlords of King's College Circle. For starters, you can't even get past the gatekeepers unless you're vetted and approved. Seriously, check it out. How you doing there, sir? I'm just wondering, do you mind if we walk in and ask people some questions about what it is they're doing here? No, we can't go in? Is this your property?
Yes.
I'm sorry, is English your second language maybe, or? No. Why are you here today, sir? By the way, apparently the key to gaining admittance is spouting pro-Hamas, anti-Israel sentiment. Then you're in like Flynn. I refuse to do that, of course, so it is that I shall never get in. Not much of a loss, really, I should think. But the other day when we attempted to gain entry, a nice lady, can I call her a lady? I don't want to misgender anyone after all. Well, she handed me this pamphlet. It's entitled Community Guidelines and Principles of Unity. That's rich, eh? Squatters who by their very presence are breaking the rules are now setting the rules for the rest of us. Talk about insult to injury. Thus, without further ado, let's check some of these so-called guidelines and principles, shall we? Let's start with this whopper under the Guidelines for Non-Campers section. Quote, anyone can walk through our encampment, but we will not platform opportunists, end quote. No, not quite anyone. As I said, we've been trying to get in since day one, no dice. You saw the video evidence earlier. And here, check out these Jewish U of T professors who also tried to gain entry to the lawns. They actually work at the university, but they were physically blocked from gaining access as well. Check it out.
Can you step back? Move away. Move away. Move away. Don't tell me to back up. Don't tell me to back up. I'm a professor.
No, you're on indigenous property.
I don't care. I'm not causing any problem.
You're on indigenous property, and we've given permission to
We're
be
on
here,
what?
so.
On indigenous
property.
Let
Everywhere
me
you
see
go
you.
is indigenous land.
Okay, so
Everywhere
you're on
you go
it.
is
So just a
indigenous
second,
land,
you're on it
and
too.
you have not
Get out of the
addressed-
way. Are you touching me?
You just
Are
touched
touching
me.
I did?
You just touched
I
me.
touched you? Okay. Now move away. Move away. I'm not exactly. Don't engage. We're not worth your time. I walk here every day
You're
for
not
4
worth
years.
my time.
Right, okay.
So
So you're on indigenous
have
land. Good.
Yes.
So what are you doing here? What are you doing here?
You want to walk on
university property. Problem with your university
You
land.
don't know my background.
Public land. Really? What are you going to?
I'm indigenous too. You
I don't
fucking
care.
dumbass.
Your family here a couple of
Yes.
years ago. In Canada?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Lake of the Woods First Nation,
Okay,
Manitoba,
I'd like to
bitch.
go
Yes.
through. Make it up as you go
No, I
Private
don't.
property.
Go
They're
back to your
on.
country.
They're the people guarding this? Are you kidding me?
Don't touch
I've
me,
walked
please.
across this thing for 40 years.
Despicable. Let's skip ahead to guidelines for messaging. For starters, quote, no hate symbols, end quote. Oh, really? There are signs all over the encampment that read "From the river to the sea" and "Intifada." Those are coded messages for the genocide of the Jewish people. Never mind. Oh, and here's another whopper. Quote, "No symbols for contentious political groups, i.e. Hamas, Hezbollah," end quote. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Hamas and Hezbollah are not terrorist organizations, but rather they're contentious political groups. You know, like the NDP or the Green Party or something. Wow. Here's another winner, folks. Quote, "State flags are tolerated but not encouraged except for Sudan, South Africa, indigenous allies of Palestine," end quote. Isn't that so nice of these unhappy campers to tolerate certain flags? Oh, by the way, even though this protest is happening in Canada and is staged, I would think, by a hefty percentage of Canadians, you will not see a single solitary Canadian flag flying here. Why is that, you ask? Oh, well, it's because they hate Canada and they hate you. This is not conjecture. Check out what this lovely young scholar had to say.
Do you still think Canada doesn't exist?
I do. And that's a hill that I will die on.
So, wow. Yeah, so you don't like Canada, eh?
Nope. I hate it.
You hate Canada?
Why are you here then, ma'am?
Because unfortunately, it was colonized by peoples who came here with nothing, came here with everything except for land, but claim it as theirs. How does that really make sense?
Okay then, but you could fly tomorrow to Mexico, cross the southern border unmolested, and you're in a different country, easy peasy.
Hold on, what was that comment unmolested for? Can you adapt onto that? What was that? Where did that just, what was that?
That you're not going to be stopped by border guards. You know, there's millions of illegal migrants that have gone into America.
You could have used different terms than unmolested, sir. That's a bit insensitive if you know what
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you.
Yeah, that's kind of just insensitive.
What would you prefer I used?
Literally, there's a bunch of other terms you could have used. I don't
Give me one.
care, but just not that. Whatever else you want to say, just not that.
Also, yeah, she's just saying the language that you used was not preferable.
Okay, you know.
For a news channel, in my opinion, as you're a news channel, that language for the context of our conversation isn't appropriate.
I'm very sorry to hear that. You know that when I use molested, I didn't mean it in a sexual way.
I do understand that, but if that word just flies out randomly, sometimes some people just interpret it differently.
You know, what do you want to bet she's taking gender studies? Oh, as always, when it comes to the written word, the devil is in the details. Check out this guideline for messaging. Quote, "No chants that directly call for the murder of any person or group, cops, IDF, BB, Gertler," end quote. Did you catch that? I speak of the word directly. Thus, my interpretation of this nasty nugget is that one can indirectly call for the murder of any person or group, and that would be A-okay, which more or less explains the coded genocidal messaging of "From the River to the Sea" and Intifada. These cats don't come right out and say "death to the Jews" and "destroy Israel," even though this is exactly what they mean and lust for. Let's hop over to the section entitled Guidelines for Campers. The first guideline that caught my eye is found in the subsection entitled Zero Tolerance Policy. Under the ban is, quote, "hate speech, racism, ableism, transphobia, homophobia, sexism, classism, etc., end quote." Transphobia and homophobia? Are they serious? You see, in Big Gaza, as opposed to Baby Gaza, transphobia and homophobia are deeply embraced concepts. Gazans take joy in executing members of the rainbow community. As for racism, these campers certainly don't practice what they preach. I defer back to the poster girl for the I Hate Canada movement on campus. Check it out.
Take your opinions and shove it up your white ass.
Why are you bringing race into this argument?
Because I can.
You see, even though she doesn't seem to realize this fact, referencing my skin color is inherently racist. And she's not a one-off, is she? You heard her comrades cheering on her racist rant. Wow. For an encampment that has zero tolerance for hatred, it sure looks to me like there's a whole heap and helping of hatred being tolerated. Or maybe it's a matter of selective hatred is okay.